Hey. Today we're doing mobility. You're gonna need a foam roller for this workout, or mobility session. I like to do these mobility exercises and foam rolling exercises before and after workout, so you can always do this as an added extra warm up alongside another workout. So it'd be like 10 to 15 minutes for just a full body, getting things moving, getting the blood flowing. So there'll be 2 exercises and then just working on range of motion. So I have 3 different foam rollers that I use, but use whatever you have, whatever foam roller you have. I would suggest going a little bit lighter or a little bit less density and having a longer one if possible. So we're gonna start out with the longer one. Actually, we're gonna start out with the shorter one. So the shorter one is a little less dense, so it's not gonna feel as painful, the good kind of pain. We're gonna start with upper body. So starting with the lats, you're gonna be on your side, and you're gonna put it just right underneath the armpit. And then you just wanna lie yourself down and just find a pretty comfortable spot. You wanna avoid getting too close to the rib cage, to the bottom part of the rib cage. So just really isolating into the back of the arm. And then just let your arm kind of hang heavy in front of you. 2 options. One can be to just place your hand on the foam roller to help guide you. Or you can hold your head like this and just let it rest into your hands so it doesn't tighten too much into the neck. So if you start to notice that you're really tensing up in the back, that's not the goal. So you wanna make sure to relax that as much as you can and relax your muscles so you can really benefit from the rolling. So I like to start here and maybe move through each position depending on how things are feeling. And then it may feel a little awkward at first, but you're just kind of wiggling your body up and down as you isolate into the lats. So underneath the shoulders here, you're not gonna go all the way down to there, but just really getting into kind of the rotators a little bit in the shoulder. And sometimes I'll lift my arm up like this. So you can just follow as I do or kind of listen to your body and what feels best. And then again, using this hand, you can even put more weight into this hand to lessen the extreme rolling if it feels too intense for you. So just focus on breathing. And I like to roll back a little bit too, to get further onto the shoulder, onto the back of the shoulder, just wherever feels really tight. And just make sure that when you do find those tight areas to maybe hold for a few moments and breathe so you can ease into it instead of forcing the rolling, because sometimes that can make it even more tense if you're not in a comfortable position for the muscle. Just rolling back and forth or holding in a spot that it feels really tense. And just a few more seconds on the side. Okay, go ahead and rest, and then we'll flip over to the other side. Lying yourself down. And just getting right underneath the arm. And you may most likely notice a difference from side to side, so just take your time, move through it as needed, and breathe. And if you've taken one of the mobility classes that we had here for a little bit, it's gonna be pretty similar to a lot of things that we did in there. So a lot of things will look familiar. And if there's any pinching or sharp pain, shooting pain, That's not good. So you don't want to feel any of that. If you do, I would back off and maybe move to a different area until we move on. Okay, go ahead and rest. And then we'll flip onto your back. Your hands are going to be behind your head, and if you have long hair and ponytail, just make sure to grab it into your hands so it doesn't suck up behind you from the foam roller. That's not fun. And then wrap your elbows up towards the sky. Let your head be super heavy, and then you just have to lift your hips a little bit, and you're just going to roll yourself back and forth. You want to avoid going lower thoracic to lumbar, so just kind of mid back and up. And then also avoiding all onto the neck as well. So just using your legs to roll yourself forwards and backwards, up and down. And try to find the ease here, really getting into the muscles. I like to move around a little bit, focusing on areas that feel more tense, more knotted. And breathe. Few more times, up and down. All right. I'm going to move on to a little bit more dense foam roller. So now we're going to go for range of motion in the shoulders. This is the exercise that I was talking about in the beginning, one of them. This really helps to warm up the body for the day, or if you're doing a workout, and also helpful to do after. So you can do before, after if you have the time. And these are things you can do daily. So you're gonna sit at the very edge here from your tailbone and then roll yourself down onto the foam roller, just making sure that your spine is aligned. Okay, so, and then just kind of having a neutral spine here, maybe tucking your hips a little bit to where you're not expanding too much, because we're gonna do some arm movements. So you wanna lock into your core a little bit and then keep your feet flat on the floor, okay? So gentle nod into your chin, and then you're gonna reach your arms up to the sky, palms face in. And we're gonna go for protraction, retraction. So you're just reaching your arms up towards the sky as you open through the back of your shoulders. And then exhale as you slowly let your shoulders drop, as you squeeze your shoulder blades into the foam roller and draw them towards one another. So you're just moving through this range of motion. And move with ease. Try not to carry tension. Relaxing the neck and shoulders. Three, two, and one. Now we're gonna open. So drawing your hands towards the floor like a T, and then you're gonna close. And I like to give myself a little hug here as you open through the back of the shoulders. And open. Big stretch into your chest, into your biceps, forearms. And then you can switch the arm that's on top as you give yourself a hug. And just repeat this motion. Really nice to get the chest and shoulders a little bit more open. We'll go 2 more. And then we'll rise back, arms to the ceiling. And now we're gonna go for circles in one direction. So you're gonna reach your arms up overhead. So this is where you wanna keep your rib cage connection. So trying not to extend in the rib cage. You want a gentle tuck in the hips and engagement in the core. And you're gonna circle around and then rise your arms up to the sky. Overhead, glide along the floor, circle around. So allow yourself the space to do this. And if there's any pain with any part of this range of motion, I would back off. So for instance, for me, it gets a little bit painful right about there. So I tend to usually stop there and then circle around here. So if you need to decrease the range of motion that you move through, that's a good idea. And then we'll switch directions. Now reaching down towards your hips, open as you reach up towards your head and follow through. And same goes here. Decrease any range of motion as needed. And we'll go 2 more. All right, now we're gonna slide ourselves off. So you can either slide off to the side or press yourself up and then remove the foam roller. And now we're gonna go into your lower body. So we're starting with the glutes. So you can just place the foam roller like so, and then you're gonna sit on top of it. And then we're gonna cross your ankle at your knee. So like a figure 4. And then from here, you're gonna move over to the side of the leg that's pointing out, that's bent. And you can keep both hands on the ground, or you can place one onto your knee, whatever feels comfortable for you. You kind of have to move around a little bit to feel what feels good for you. And then again, rolling into the areas that feel super tight. Sometimes you gotta find it. So rolling more off to the side or coming a little bit higher onto the hip, near the hip flexor-ish. And then sometimes I'll straighten my leg a little bit. And that can open the area in a different way. And then we'll rest, we'll switch sides, cross your other ankle, whatever leg you started with, we'll switch. Straighten that leg if you did so on the other side. Okay, now we'll move on. We're doing a psoas and hip flexor stretch, and then we'll get into the quads a little bit. So you're gonna bring the foam roller underneath your knees like this, and then you roll yourself down. And from here, lift your hips up. You're gonna bring the foam roller at the base of your pelvis, so a little bit below the PSIS bones that are on the back. So think about like closer to the tailbone, not quite on the tailbone, because then you're gonna be at too much of an arch, or of a flexion into the spine. So yeah, just the base of the pelvis. It should feel right to you. And then you're gonna hug one knee into your chest. I'm gonna start hugging my left knee in, and then you lengthen your right leg long. So the more you hug this knee in, you'll have that tuck into your hips, and you'll be able to get a deeper stretch into the front of your right leg. So your hip flexors, your quads, getting your psoas a little bit too. So think about breathing into this area so you can find more release with the breath. Just relaxing your upper body, your neck, your shoulders, your jaw, your forehead. And it's helpful to think about reaching your right leg away from you to allow a deeper stretch. A few more breaths before we switch sides. As we switch sides, you're gonna hug your right knee into your chest, and then we'll lengthen the left leg long. If you started with the other side, of course, just switch legs. And now you hug your right knee in as your left leg is long, reaching away from you. Find that space into the hip flexor, quads, the psoas, and again, breathing into your left side body. Just a few more breaths. And go ahead and bend your left knee. Place your left foot onto the mat. And then we'll place the right foot onto the mat. Lift your hips a little bit. Glide the foam roller out from underneath you. I'm gonna get my PVC pipe, just a little bit more of a dense foam roller. Again, if you just have one, stick with the one, obviously. So we're gonna roll out into your quads and IT bands. So we'll start with the IT bands, and this one can feel super tight, so breathe it out. And I like to focus on the outer part of my hamstrings when I do this as well. So you kind of get a double whammy with this. So I'm gonna come onto your elbow, and then you'll cross your leg. So I'm on my left side first, so I'm gonna cross my right leg over my left, and then I'm on my left elbow, and then you can use your right hand to kind of help guide as you roll up and down. So I also like to get to the outer part of my quads, the vastus lateralis here. So lots of options. If the IT band just feels too painful, you can just focus more onto the outer part of the quads, which will still help release the tension from the IT band if you're feeling really tight there. So just rolling up and down, focus on breathing. We'll go a few more times up and down. Last one up and down. All right, we'll go ahead and switch sides. Coming onto your right side, onto your right elbow, cross your left leg over your right, and then help guide with your left hand. Same goes here, you can go on the outer part of your quads, IT bands, hamstrings. This is by far the tightest part for me, so it's the good kind of pain, right? Continue breathing. A few more times up and down. Last one here. Okay, now we'll just flip over onto your quads. So rolling back and forth, toes face down towards the ground. And then on your elbows. And then I like to start with my toes turned out actually to get the inner thighs. And you can play around with it. If your inner thighs don't feel super tight, then you can just go straight down. So from here, making sure you're not arching into your back. Stay solid through your core. You only want the good kind of pain. This is our last bit of foam rolling, and then we're done. It's nice to know when the end is. And then I start to point my toes down to the ground. And you want to make sure you avoid your knees. Just going right above the knees. And then right below the hips. We'll go 10 more times up and down. Good, 2 more for good measure. All right. Awesome work, everybody. As mentioned, it's helpful to do this before and after a workout, or just any time of day, any time you can make the time to do it. Yeah, that's it. And it's also, we have 4 other workouts that we're gonna post. So if you wanna do like the first 2 on a Monday and a Tuesday, and then do mobility on Wednesday to kind of split it up a little bit, and then do Thursday, Friday the workout, that's really helpful too. So lots of options. Awesome work, everybody. Until next time.